Your description will be my first exposure to what's on the video.
That's good. This is a good time to go live. So welcome to the Practical Pistol Show. My name is Ben Steger. I'm here to answer your shooting questions. From Georgia, producer Candace.
Hi.
You're supposed to say cool intro here.
The cool intro will have already aired.
Oh, I don't know how you were doing it.
Okay, fine. Cool intro here.
Boom. Then you'll air it. Well, I wonder where you'll splice it in. Nick Yantola is also here.
From South Carolina.
I know.
Correct.
Grandmaster Nick. Great for you to be here. And we have a new face. From Tucson, Arizona, Mr. Rob Lee Sac.
Hello.
Yes. You might be wondering, who the fuck is Rob Lee Sac, and why do I care what he thinks? As a shooter, Rob is... people have been calling you a sandbagger, Rob, but you are in B class right now.
Not anybody important.
so you're like maybe a Candace level shooter, right? So
yeah.
Why are you here?
Why? I'm here because we just worked on our second video.
Don't get none of this wee shit. Rob Lee Sac is the mastermind behind any shooting videos. The cool intro you just saw, if you're watching the YouTube version of this, Rob Lee Sac's the mastermind behind that as well. So, yes, Practical Pistol Foundations, Rob's brainchild. You're fucking magnum opus as far as a shooting video, right? Your answer to Magpul Dynamics,
yeah,
right?
That's it. My inspiration.
Right?
Right.
All right. So if we want people to buy foundations, or maybe not buy it, whatever, we want people to make an informed buying decision about foundations. What the hell is on it? What were you thinking of, Rob?
Well, I think we talked about the ideas behind the video together. I mean, Training to Win came out first. I worked with you on that. I thought Training to Win was a really good overview of your classes and your kind of whole spin on how to train to get better at USPSA shooting. So we were going to follow that up with something better, right? So we took Practical Pistol, your book, and got really into the details of, very small details on grip, stance, all the things people maybe take for granted. You look bored already with the description.
No, I'm not. No, you're telling people.
He's looking interested.
No. So, no, you're right. So what it is like, this is technique, right? This is draws, reloads, trigger control, shooting targets, that kind of shit.
Yeah. So based on this description so far, it may sound like this is targeted more toward beginner shooters or C or D type people. Is that a true statement or not?
Well, it's interesting, so I'm on a group on Facebook, the practice group. I think maybe you guys are all on that, but there's a group of shooters that I'll talk about.
Rob, it's a fucking secret group, dude.
Oh, God.
You've blown the secret.
I didn't know it was a secret.
I'm
in it. How am I? All right. Well, so there's
there's this group that we talked to.
The secret group. So, I noticed that just the other day somebody brought up specifics about grip, right? Grandmasters. They were talking about grip. So maybe it's not just for C&D class shooters. If you got guys re-examining the proper techniques for those types of things, even up to grandmaster level. So we got as detailed as we could about what your thoughts are on all those different topics. And we brought in other shooters at different levels, different skill levels, different divisions, and they were part of the video, but they also were there to ask you questions specifically about anything that came to mind. You kind of went off the cuff. It was like doing a podcast, but live video. We also even talked to Kita for a while. I thought that was an interesting component that you don't see in other videos, because she brought things that are not so specific to shooting, but maybe like the lifestyle of a shooter, and I found that to be pretty interesting. So we kind of moved in and out of all those topics.
Yeah, so to answer Nick's question really specifically about who this is targeted towards, it's like the same people, like if you buy Practical Pistol and you read that and you're like, hey, you know, I want to know specifically like how to draw and reload and that kind of stuff. This is the video version of a lot of that stuff. I personally would buy it, but I buy everything. But if you feel like you're good at drawing and reloading and you're like master class or something, and you feel like your technique is sound, then you would not buy this. This would not be good for you if that's not what you're into. If you're one of the guys who's like hungry for information all the time, and you'd buy it and watch it and pick up like a couple little tweaks, yeah, that'd be good for you. Or if you're new, this would make sense to buy. What I think I think you did a good job with was making it. It's very much a competition shooting focused thing, but people from people who've never shot a match would still look at it and think like, hey, this looks cool. That was, I mean, aside from just the core concept, one thing you put in there was this vibe. I mean, as far as making a set and having the lighting be the way it was, I'm sure people picked up on some of it from the trailer, but if you actually watch the whole thing, it definitely picks up a vibe. Yeah. Candace, you've actually watched most of it.
I think I've seen all of it, unless you're holding something back.
Well, you didn't see the version with music, and that was...
Oh, well, that didn't matter.
Hey, you never know. So did you pick up...
I'm pretty sure you... Well, the thing I wanted to say was I think you covered just about anything I could have thought of that you'd want to talk about.
On those topics.
Oh, yeah.
But talk to me about the vibe, Candace.
It's pretty cool. I really like the shot calling one was really cool. The lighting was pretty neat. I don't know about the vibe, dude. I really don't.
That's the vibe. It's like the lighting. Rob, help Candace out, man. Jesus.
I want everything that I'm into shooting for a couple of years. I've seen a lot of instructional videos, and with maybe a few exceptions, they're pretty boring to watch for the most part, especially when you get really detailed on information.
Bag pull's awesome though.
You can also compare it to...
It fucking is. It's awesome.
The production's great on them. I mean, I would have hoped to think that we came close to something like that, but in a different way.
If you got ambient noise and stuff, ambient beats and that kind of stuff, that'd be cool.
Beard.
Like Magpul.
No beard.
Oh.
I've seen other videos too, instructional videos, very specific on detail, and then you get bored after 5 minutes of going through somebody explaining the minutia of whatever.
Well, that's when you jump to something else. I saw the video.
Yeah, we edited it in a way that it was it got really into a detailed explanation, and then it moved to something else quickly, and it kept. I tried to keep it interesting. That was the.
So I don't think you'll be bored watching it.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully not.
Keita's
in it.
Yes, Keita's in it. Yeah. All right, Nick, do you have any other questions that you would ask about this?
I think you guys covered it pretty well. I guess I'm assuming most of the audience, like myself, has seen Training to Win, but obviously has not seen this yet. So if there's any direct comparisons you want to make between those two, it could be helpful.
Well, I think Training to Win, I'd call it more of an overview. I don't know what you think, Ben.
Yes.
I had just taken my first class with Ben, and I had that kind of fresh in my mind, the way he approached a training class. And with that footage, I tried to edit it to complement his training style, how he runs his classes, and then it was like a dry fire thing, all like overview. I wouldn't say it's on the surface. There's detail in there, but we got a lot more detailed on really small specifics with this new one with Foundations.
And I would say there's a big difference in terms of production value. So this one we shut down an indoor range for days and Rob built a set.
Is that a secret to you? Can we mention the range?
Yeah, well, I mean we ought to be sucking their dick, right? I mean, they let us shut the range down to shoot a video. Yeah, so
Alpha Range, McHenry. Yeah, it was awesome. There's 2 bays. We shut them both down, and made it basically a film set for. How many days were we there? 3, 4?
3 or 4 days. I think you were there for 4.
Yeah.
Because you did all the work on building the.
We also discovered that LED lighting and shooting steel at a close range, they don't mix really well, because I think we shot out like about 12 different $150
so
LED
that's
lights.
enough, though.
It looked awesome, though. And so in some of the scenes, you actually see the lights getting blown out. Like, you see the colors change. It wasn't intentional. It was steel just destroying LED lights. It looked cool.
Oh, so added bonus Easter egg for people.
Yes, you'll see that there goes a $150 light, and then towards the end of it, it's
more
like
DVDs.
well, towards the end of it, it's like got enough lights, and it's like I don't know.
Yeah, we had like a flashlight and one left by the end. They were all pretty shattered.
All right, good. Enough relentless self-promotion. I got two more things to say. One, Rob did the work on this. Rob Lee Sac did the work, like 90% of it. Being honest. So if you have any compliments, you should send them to Rob at Screaming Amateur Productions. If you have any complaints, send those to me, because Rob will take that shit personally. So
it's Screaming Amateur. We build disappointment into the name of the company.
All right. The other thing I should say is Candace will put a link in the show notes. So go to the Pro Shop and buy it if you want, or fucking if you don't want to, then don't do that, because that'd be terrible. All right. The discussion topic for today. Lee Sac's going to tee it up. You, Rob, sound annoyed with people calling other people sandbaggers.
Yeah. And this isn't just directed at me. It's not like people call me that all that often. I wish I were called that more at this point. But just in general, like you go to matches, and if somebody that's in a lower class and someone else does better at the match, all of a sudden everybody's calling a sandbagger. And my theory is that, well, I guess people have different goals, right, in the sport. So some people's goal is to raise their classification, and sometimes that might not equal them shooting at the level they're classified at. So if they get beat by someone at a lower classification, then automatically that person must be a sandbagger. Maybe they shouldn't be in that class yet, right?
All right. There's a couple interesting ideas in there, but Nick, let's get your reaction first. People calling people sandbaggers, is that you share Rob's annoyance at it? I'm sure you've been called that. You spent some time in B class when perhaps.
Well, no, I really didn't spend much time in B class.
It was like 2 months, man.
Yeah. Well, what I did was I'm about 2.5 years into my USPSA career, maybe almost 3.
And they're already putting your ass on the super squad. What the fuck?
I shot one match as an A class guy. I didn't shoot any majors at B. I shot one match as an A, and then I was an M. But anyway, in my experience with USPSA to this point, I have a lot of I guess confidence that the classification system is right most of the time. I rarely see a case where it's just really incorrect if you take a shooter and you put him in a real field, in a larger major match. So, if you're a sandbagger today, if you do what you're supposed to do, keep on the path you're on, you're not going to be one for long. So. I just don't see a lot of it out there. A lot of blatant, misclass people that are just classed wrong and stay that way for months on end if they're shooting regularly. I don't see it.
All right, what about it, Candace? Does it annoy you when people get called sandbaggers?
No, not too much, honestly. I see a lot of grandbagging, not a lot of sandbagging.
All right, would you say that sandbagging is, like, if to call somebody a sandbagger, that's like a defense mechanism? Like,
yeah, a lot of times.
So, like, M-class dude gets beat by B-class dude, that dude's a fucking sandbagger. Would maybe be like the defense mechanism.
Yeah, I've been called a sandbagger before when I beat an M-class dude, but that was stupid.
Did the guy get his gun fixed?
What?
Boom!
No, it's cool. But I'm more of a grandbagger than a sandbagger, so that's not entirely correct. I think he had his terms messed up.
How about it, Rob? Have you ever seen somebody sandbag at a match where it's like they intentionally fuck up their classifier?
I do know someone who is that way, now that I think about it.
I mean, I don't know that I know anybody would admit to doing that. But
have you ever seen somebody shoot a classifier where you're kind of suspicious, like, man, that no-shoot hit was a little bit too clean or something?
I haven't noticed it. I mean, it seems like everybody shoots to the best of their ability. I know I do, but once again, well, here's this other theory. We talked about this the other day.
Yes, we did.
Because people, if they shoot a classifier and it's lower than their actual classification, it doesn't count against them. So it's worth it to them to just kind of like go 0 or 0 on every classifier, which might not represent their skill. They just might like hook up and up their classification beyond where they really shoot in a normal match setting, right? So
all right.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah. Hey, Nick, that's an interesting point. You're a very analytical guy. Would you say the classification system rewards sort of a 0 or 0 mentality? If you view getting a higher class as a reward.
It maybe depends on the schedule you're shooting, right? So I do think that major matches should, I don't know, count more is the right term, but maybe we should balance
more heavily.
Well, yeah, I mean, if I was to tweak the system in any way, I'd probably say, you're going to have your average is going to be like I'd maybe have 2 different categories, one for classifier stages and one for major matches, and say the top or whatever the rolling average of the best 3 in each is going to count, and that way you get major match performance mixed in there, which I think is as good or better than individual classifiers. Just because classifier stages obviously can be 0 to 0.
Well, do you think the system rewards that?
Well, I don't think reward is the right term. I mean, I don't see when I watch people shoot classifiers at club matches. I shoot a lot of club matches because I kind of have to. But what I see people do is like I only see GMs for the most part really try to hero the classifier and just go all out for 100%.
You only see GMs do that?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I don't see a lot of non-GMs do that because they're, I really don't see them. That they're trying to shoot it more at their match pace or whatever, or like you said, maybe even some of them will not try to shoot as hard on a classifier.
I'm not saying
sandbag a little bit.
Really?
No, I'm.
That's completely opposite of mine.
Right, I'll be honest with you, Nick. I've met one guy ever where I'm certain the guy's a sandbagger, like to the point where he's sabotaging his own score.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I've never met
met
anyone that I would. Yeah. Okay, I can agree with that.
How often do you guys see at a bigger match guys shoot below their classification and the percentage against the top shooters in the field? Is it more common than not that everybody ends up in their percentage against the top shooters at the match?
Well, that's not really the way the classification system works, right? It's not supposed to be a predictive, like, if you're M class, you finish between 85 and 95% at an area match. It's not supposed to be predictive of that. What it is you shoot a major match, and if that counts as a classifier, here's your percentage that you actually finished. You know what I'm saying, Rob?
Yeah,
so it's not really like shoot your percentage. Like, I get what you're saying, but it doesn't really work that way, and that's why you see. Most people are going to be way below whatever they're. Well, not most people. Like the higher level guys are going to end up being below because there's outliers that set the 100% mark. You know what I mean?
So you think at the match then, whoever wins the match, let's say he's the top GM, he wouldn't be representative of the skill level you should shoot within a percentage of if you were actually classed against him?
It probably depends who he is and how good a match he had.
It depends who he. Yeah, it depends on that, and also like the way the hit factors are supposed to get set on classifiers, I think, is they would take an average of the top 10 scores on the classifier stage. Not the one best score is 100, but they average the top 10. So
that's not how they did it with the 13 or whatever.
I can assure you they don't do it that way. I'm just telling you what the policy that's written. It's not supposed to be
the
platonic
best score. Ideal. Yeah.
Yeah, the best score ever is not going to be the 100.
That last batch they released, it was the top score nationals. That was 100%.
Right. That is not what's written in there. And I've also noticed at nationals where I'll shoot a stage at nationals that becomes a classifier, and then I go see how it gets set up as a classifier, and it's set up, to the instructions, and it doesn't really look it doesn't look quite the same. Like, oh, whatever.
Yeah.
That's the way it works. Oh my God.
One of the 13s was really bad about that. It was set up.
Did it get fixed or something?
No, well, I don't know if it got fixed or not, but the first time we shot at a club match, I think the top quarter of the field 100'd it, and so then we went and looked at the video from Nationals. The target spacing was not even close to what they had on the paper diagram. Not even close. So we figured that out. We had a guy that got bumped from that, and then wrote a letter to get bumped back down, and that was actually legit in my opinion.
To get bumped back down?
Yeah, because he got 100% on this classifier that was totally not legit.
He's like, guys, I'm in C class. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, he was going from A to M.
Candace, did you say somebody accused you of being a sandbagger?
Oh, they were joking, but I do know someone who tells me he's a sandbagger, and then I saw him
have you seen it?
He plugged a no-shoot in a classifier because he figured that would have bumped him out of his class, that classifier.
Well, how did you watch him shoot that stage?
Yeah.
Was it like he clipped a no-shoot, or was it like he shoots the whole
no,
thing
when I say,
and he goes right back to it? And
when I say plugged a no-shoot, I mean he plugged it.
That's all. Like I said, I've met one guy.
Although I will tell you honestly, on a classifier, there's a terrible trap if you want to move up. You don't want a classifier to just count that's really bad, but on that edge of being bad. So the classifier system really does encourage you to game it instead of just shoot it and take the score, if you care about your classification.
All right. Good.
Sorry.
Rob, one other thing we should talk about.
Right.
Do you feel like shooters are doing themselves a disservice if they're you've used the term hot wiring the classification system to try and get a higher classification?
I mean, yeah, I think you should I think that if you're legitimately belong in a certain classification, you should be able to go up there 6 times and out of, let's even say 8 if you had a couple of bad days, and be able to shoot your classification. You shouldn't have to think about it so hard and plug a no-shoot so that it's not within your class and all that other stuff. Right? You should just be able to shoot your classification. Yeah, and you don't belong there.
Candace, you want to move up, right?
Oh yeah.
Right now, you definitely, it's fair to say, like, you're like, look at the classifier pretty hard, and it's like, I'm gonna figure out what I got to do on this. I want to move up. I mean, do you think maybe it'd be better just fucking go up and shoot the stage and just let the chips fall where they may?
No.
Would it be better long term? No, that's not better.
No.
Cool. Why not? I like this. We'll have a good talk.
Because I said I wanted to move up. I want a 2-letter classification.
But you're going to get that eventually if you just keep practicing and keep working on your skills, says Rob.
Yeah, but did you do that?
Did I do what?
Did you slowly work your way up and all that crap?
No, I just figured out how to shoot a champ score and then did that.
Yeah, duh. I'm not quite as good as you, so it's going to take me longer, but that's the idea.
That's where I think a lot of disconnect exists, because to me, people that I see that can shoot GM scores on classifiers with any kind of consistency are GMs.
Yeah.
So if you learn to shoot a GM score on a classifier, you're learning how to shoot like a GM.
Right. I wouldn't say there's not a huge amount of difference except in the consistency, because right now I'm not consistent enough.
Yeah, that is a big piece of shooting an overall match, as GM level.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Uh-huh.
Is not being a fuck up.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, bringing the consistency level up.
All right, how about it, Rob? Do you think that there would be any value for you if you just set up a classifier and maybe in a practice session and, just figure out how to shoot a hundo on it? Right, just figure it out.
I mean, yeah, there's skills. I think you're going to build your skills on that classifier, but sometimes you could just get good at shooting that classifier, right? And there's so many different ones that you'd have to contend with that if your skills were at that level, you should just be able to hit the scores, right? Like, if you're practicing the same scenario, you'll just get good at that. But
aren't there a lot of skills that kind of carry over? like drawing and reloading, and a lot of the classifiers, they kind of look sort of same. To some of the older ones, I would say, look more same than the newer ones, right? So if you kind of practice a few of them, and for a little bit, maybe you'll get kind of better at all of them.
Well, then I guess if you said that, then anybody that's got GM on their card should be relatively competitive against each other, right?
No.
Yeah, right. And
I don't think that follows from what I said.
Well, I'm saying that, like, if you can put the skills together that would get you a GM on your card, right? Then at that point, with using that logic, you guys should all be pretty close to being the same skill level in a match. And I don't think it works out that way.
No, that would hinge on the classifiers being representative of being good in a match. Right?
Right. So why do you say that it doesn't make sense to just game the system then? It sounds like they're two separate systems. There's matches and then there's classifiers.
Well, they're separate systems, but they're very related.
Okay.
So obviously another thing you have to take into account is what classifiers did you shoot in order to get your GM card, right? Yeah, 'cause you're not...
Usually the easy ones from what I've seen.
Yeah, maybe. For
most people.
A lot of people, it's probably the case. But, you can't... If you got a club that just runs hard classifiers all the time, then, you're probably going to have to go shoot some major matches, and you'll probably score better than your classifier.
I'll say there's some classifiers I've seen that I could not shoot a GM score on, period, regardless of how many tries I get. I couldn't do it.
Did you hundo that lazy man standards or not?
I don't remember.
Oh.
there's a few of them there's no fucking way. Not on this earth that I could shoot 100% on.
That's what I'm talking about. So one like El Prez, where if you don't shoot 100, you had to screw something up. And then you got the ones like you're talking about.
Really?
Where, well,
my feelers got hurt.
Well, what do you have to do? Okay, I'm talking about GM 5.5 seconds, something like that? Or
6 seconds all A's.
6 seconds all A's, okay.
So, yeah.
Okay, versus the ones you're talking about where national champion can hammer on it all day and never get 100. So where did that top score come from? I don't know. It's not a perfect system.
They went like this.
Yeah.
Got it.
Or they said,
sorry if you're listening to the audio. I
just
just did something funny.
Yep.
All right, Rob. This was a fun chat, productive chat. I think. I do enjoy talking about this stuff with you. Anything else you want to say?
Buy foundations. It'll change your life.
Change your life.
It'll change your life. It'll make you a GM.
If enough of you motherfuckers buy foundations, it's going to change Rob's life.
Yeah, after training to win, I got to move to Tucson.
You drove yourself down there in your fucking rolls, didn't you?
Yeah.
Bitch. All right. All right, Nick. Thank you for coming on. Anything else? Any parting thoughts?
Yes, there's one honorable way to drive your classification, and that is to shoot what's in front of you to the best of your ability, and that's it. No sandbagging, no grandbagging, and
we think
where you're supposed to be.
Sandbagging is like the unicorn of shooting behaviors. Like you hear about it, but you pretty rarely see it.
Yeah.
But grandbagging, you think that's a bad idea?
Yeah, I mean,
let's describe.
I don't really care what
I don't really care if people do it, but what do you mean? What do you mean when you say grandbagging?
Well, you hear these stories about people that shoot a classifier 4 times at a club match or whatever until they get the score they want. And I've seen a couple people reshoot a classifier twice. I never have. I don't really see the point in that.
It's to get a higher score.
Yeah.
So then you can be a GM. Just like you, right, Nick?
Yeah, just like me. Yeah, just
like Nick.
Just shoot everything in front of you to the best of your ability, and you'll go where you're supposed to go.
All right, Candace. Anything else to say?
No, I think that's pretty much it.
Oh man, I hope you'd be like, "Fuck you, Nick."
Well, I respect that. I still want GM, so I'll do what I can.
How many reshoots is permissible for a GM to get a GM classifier?
You mean total or per classifier or
per
whatever?
classifier.
Well, probably just the one if something goes like retarded, like the steel doesn't fall down or some bullshit like that.
Okay,
So that does happen.
Nick, 1 reshoot per classifier at EPGM, okay? That's legit. Any
Okay.
more than that,
Yeah.
then you have something to bitch about.
'Cause that's what happens in a match. You get a reshoot if something goes wrong. So yeah.
No,
Oh,
oh my God, this is a different podcast. But Nick, watching you get fucked on mini poppers, it's like I've never seen that happen so much to one dude.
Yeah, I don't know. That does seem to happen to me a lot.
How do you center punch a mini popper and have it not fall? Like, man, those things always go down. But not
My
for you.
ammo is yeah. My last chrono was 137 as well, so it's not like I'm scraping the floor.
No, it's not like that. All right. Good talk, guys. Yes, buy foundations, and that'll do it for me. If you have any shooting questions you'd like to send to us, head over to benstegger.com, and we'd love to answer your question.